Okay, we'll get started. This is the Monday, June 7th, 2021 meeting of the Technical Coordinating Committee. Approval of the agenda, any changes? There is none, so it'll stand approved as submitted. We move to the public forum. Only in-person participants able to speak. Any of y'all in the audience have anything? Nobody signed up, so all right. Okay, we'll move to the DOT updates. First being the Florida Department of Transportation update. Mr. Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The department only has one item to update this board on, and you guys may have already heard about it at this point in time, but the toll suspension on the Garson Point Bridge will remain in effect through July 6th to still allow that to be used as an alternate route until we get the full 4 lanes open on it's called Bay Bridge. And that concludes the department's update.
Okay, thank you. Now for the Alabama DOT, Mr. Beebe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of projects in construction to update everybody on. The State Route 180 widening job. We're nearly complete with that. Working on side road pavings and driveways right now. We should see some striping, final striping and markings down after the summer, and we expect that to be completed in the fall. Also, our resurfacing on State 182 job, that one's nearly complete as well. Just going through a little punch list items, cleaning up those final striping jobs, final striping, things like that. We do have some projects in our pre-construction that we're working towards. Our waterways project, that one's been broken up into 2 phases, 2 projects. And the bridge project, we're hoping to get to that about the middle of summer, and the main roadway towards the end of this year for letting on those. And then we have a new project that we are working towards to upgrade and maintain our signals. And everybody's got in front of them a copy of some information here talking about what signals that we've got inside of that larger project. But with the stimulus money that we have, the CRR, SAA funds that we have, we're trying to apply those funds, about $61,000, to this RTOP project. So we'll be coming back to the TPO for putting that onto the tip in October, and I'll hopefully have all of our ducks in a row for spending that stimulus money inside of this project as well. So with that, I'll take any questions. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Move. Yes.
Hey, Brian, do you have an estimated time of the 4-lane opening by any chance?
Well, the date that we requested the toll suspension through, you could probably consider that the anticipated date we'll have the bridge back open to full traffic. So hopefully before the 4th holiday.
Okay, we'll move to the consent part of the agenda. Number 1 will be the approval of the April 2021 meeting minutes. I'm sure each member has received a copy of the minutes from that meeting for review. Are there any additions, deletions, or amendments to those minutes? Okay, the other items, consideration of resolution Florida-Alabama 2120 adoption. of congestion management process plan, minor updates for the 2019 level of service tables. Then we have consideration of resolution Florida-Alabama 2122, changing the Alabama revenue vehicle target from 10% to 5%. And the next item being consideration of resolution Florida-Alabama 21-19, adopting the fiscal year 2021, fiscal year 2022 Unified Planning Work Program Year 2 amendments authorizing TPO chairman signed certifications and assurances and authorization authorizing TPO staff to apply for and execute a Federal Transit Administration Section 5305 grant for use. So do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda? Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. So it carries. Okay, we're moving to the action item part of the agenda. Enclosure A for all committees. Consideration of resolution Florida-Alabama 21-17, adopting the Florida-Alabama TPO fiscal year 2022 to 2026 transportation improvement program. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, TCC members. Closure A is the fiscal year 2022-2026 Transportation Improvement Program. The fiscal year 2022-2026 Transportation Improvement Program was a review item in April and for action this month. The fiscal year 2022-2026 Transportation Improvement Program is the end product of the cycle, which began with the TPO adoption of the fiscal year 2022-2026 project priorities last September. FDOT presenting the tentative fiscal year 2022-2026 work program in January of this year. The fiscal year 2022-2026 Transportation Improvement Program was posted in the link in your agenda enclosure on May 19th, 2021. And the link was also emailed to the members of the TPO, TCC, and CAC by Mary Beth Washenach on May 19th, 2021. Comments were received from the fiscal year 2022-2026 Transportation Improvement Program begin on page 31 of the agenda enclosure and were addressed accordingly in the fiscal year 2022-2026 Transportation Improvement Program. If you have any questions, I'll attempt to answer them. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any questions? Mr. Kramer? Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Kramer, for the presentation. Okay, so any questions or discussion? Okay, and I hear a motion to approve enclosure A. Okay, we've got a motion approved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Closure B is for all committees. This is consideration of resolution Florida-Alabama 21-18, adopting the Florida-Alabama fiscal year 2023-2027 project priorities. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. TCC members, enclosure B is the fiscal year 2023-2027 project priorities. And next slide, please. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Brittany Ellers to review the public involvement that was done with the fiscal year 23-27 project priorities.
Surprise, I'm in person. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the TCC. For the project priorities this year, we did hold an online open house that allowed people to virtually go through the project priority process, get to know about the projects, and then submit their input through a public survey. Sorry, walking over here. We did hold a public workshop virtually on April 27th, and that was made available on the open house webpage so that people could learn more about the project priority process from our transportation expert, Mr. Kramer. So I just wanted to go over a couple of the public survey results with you guys. The first question that we ask is more of a general transportation improvements question, just kind of gauging what the community thinks needs to be improved. As you can see, intelligent traffic signal management is a big priority of our community, as well as bicycle, pedestrian, and capacity improvements. So this is a question that we ask on most of our surveys, just so that we can kind of see where the priorities lie throughout the year. Okay, so we did ask about the top 10 priority projects. I only put the highest ranking ones on the slides because there are 10 of them, and that's a lot of pie charts. So as you can see, the top 3 ranking projects that are the highest priority on the priority list is the Regional Intelligent Traffic Signal Management, which kind of goes hand in hand with that first question. The 9 Mile Road, Mobile Highway to Pine Forest Road. There are more details in the table about what that improvement is, but this is from the non-strategic intermodal system, so it's generally going to be, capacity improvements, that kind of thing. And then the final top-ranked project is going to be the Pine Forest Road from I-10 to County Road 297A. Okay, this is I added 6, I'm sorry, 6 of the highest priorities, because they did rank as a high priority more so than the rest of the, more so than high, low, high, or not a priority at all. So regional trail projects are very important to our community, bicycle pedestrian plan projects, and then US 90 from State Road 87 to County Road 89. Ward Basin Road also ranked as a high priority for the community. Again, these are non-strategic intermodal system projects as well. We did have 2 projects for Alabama specifically. We have a smaller pot of funding for Alabama projects. So as you know, that list is going to be much smaller. But you can see here that both projects ranked as somewhat high priority. It looks like the Canal Road bypass option A is a low priority, but that ranks better than not a priority at all. And I think that's the final slide for the public outreach. If you have any questions, please let us know. I will have a full report available on the website by this afternoon. So if you guys want to look at all the pie charts, they'll be available. Now I will turn it back over to you, Gary.
Thank you, Brittany. The project priorities are essentially based on the cost feasible plan of the long range transportation plan. Once the project priorities are approved by the TPO, we send them on to the Department of Transportation to use as a guide to build their 5-year work program. The TPO's version of the 5-year work program for the Department of Transportation is what's called the Transportation Improvement Program. The difference is the Transportation Improvement Program can also contain locally funded projects. Also shows you how the projects may be implemented in the next 5 years. For Alabama projects, we have 4 bicycle pedestrian projects that were ranked as project priorities, and 2 roadway capacity projects that Brittany just went over with you with the pie charts. For Florida projects, the capacity projects are based on the 2045 Long Range Transportation Plan. Completed projects are removed from the list. Projects scheduled for construction the first 3 years are moved to the fully funded list. The new projects are placed at the end of the project priority list. Transportation system management projects, which are primarily short-term operational projects such as turn lane and signal modifications, are based on TPO approved criteria. Transportation alternative program projects, which are primarily bicycle pedestrian projects, rank based on TPO approved criteria as well. Public transportation projects are listed by potential grants and furnished by the TPO's public transportation staff in consultation with the regional public transportation provider. Aviation projects were provided by the Pensacola International Airport and Peter Prince Airport. Port projects were provided by the Port of Pensacola. These are the 7 sections and 11 tables that comprise the project priorities. The capacity projects are the non-SIS, CIS, and Alabama projects. The transportation system management are, like I said, the short-term operational projects. Transportation alternative program projects are bike ped projects in Florida. The bicycle pedestrian projects are the bicycle pedestrian projects in Alabama. Public transportation projects are ECAT and Santa Rosa County projects. Aviation projects were Pensacola International Airport and Peter Prince Field. The port projects were Port of Pensacola projects. This is where you can review the project priorities. These links are also included in the agenda enclosure. So if you click on that link, you take you to the project priorities. The interactive map shows you the location and a description of the project priorities as well. We had the 2 TPO TCC CAC workshops. The first one was on March 22nd. We received 2 comments. The first comment was Table 2, the SIS priority number 1 on I-10-29 interchange. The project is fully funded for construction for 3 years of the work program. So we'll put that project on the fully funded list, and the next project would, priority number 2 would become the priority number 1 for the SIS. Table 2, SIS priority number 5, Blue Angel Parkway from Sorrento to US 98. The right-of-way identified for this project will fully fund the right-of-way phase and was provided by Escambia County. So the priority for this project should be construction, and so that's what's recommended for this project priority, not for construction and right-of-way. Our second workshop for the TPO, TCC, and CAC workshop was on May 3rd. The first comment we received was the non-SIS priority number 24, US 90 West Durante Street from Dominguez to A Street, and non-SIS priority number 25, Davis Highway, Martin Luther King, Elkinley Street. The question was asked how these project priorities can be moved higher on the list. And it's identified there that would take an action of the TPO to move the priorities higher. The reason they're out towards the bottom of the list now, there were new projects, and as explained in the methodology, the new projects were placed at the end of the project priority list. The other comments we received, Table 2, SIS priority number 4, I-10 from east of 9 Mile to US 29. The project priority phase should be for right-of-way since design is funded in 24-25. That change will be made. Table 3, Alabama capacity project priority number 1, Canal Road from State Road 59 Foley Beach Express. The project should be in the fully funded as construction is funded in fiscal year 23-24. That change will be made. Another question on table 6, the bike ped project priorities for Alabama. Priorities 1 and 2, US 98 paved shoulders. Alabama's questioned the construction feasibility of paved shoulders on US 98. And we'll work with ALDOT to see if we can come up with a better description for project priorities for the bike ped that do not include paved shoulders on a US highway. What's next? The priorities will be presented to the TCC this evening and the TPO on Wednesday. Once the project priorities are adopted by the TPO, we'll send them on to the Florida Department of Transportation, the Alabama Department of Transportation to use as a guide to build their 5-year work program. If you have any comments or questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Okay, any questions? Yes.
I have a question for staff in terms of the comments we received about moving up the West Cervantes and the MLK Davis two-way conversion. Would that be an appropriate recommendation to come from the TCC to the TPO to consider moving those up on the list?
You can make the recommendation, but it needs to have a approval, super majority vote of the members present. And he also has to tell us where you want them on the project priority list.
Thank you. I think we'll probably work through that internally then.
Okay.
Okay, any more questions? Yes.
David Forsyth, City of Pensacola. Gary, you might help me understand. I think that when I looked at it this morning, the tables show 2022 through 2026 for the project priorities, but the action item is for 2023 through 2027. So I'm just curious if that's the intention or how that works.
And the 22 to 26 is the word appears in the current 5-year work program, but the project priority will essentially be the new 5th year of the work program, and we call that the fiscal year 23-27 project priority list.
I'm not sure I'm understanding how that.
Gary, this is Brian with DOT. I'll try to clarify that. David, what we're looking at here, this document helps the department know what we programmed to date on this. And if we showed fiscal year 27, it would just be zeros because we've not programmed it at this point in time. So what's being shown to us is basically everything to this point, and that helps us as we look for the 23 through 27 period.
Gotcha. So it's in advance of the programming cycle that y'all do.
Right. To show 27, again, would just be to all zeros because we haven't programmed any money yet.
Good point. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, any more? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kramer.
You're welcome.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve this action item? Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, the motion carries. Okay, enclosure C's for all committees. This is election of chairs and vice chairs for fiscal year 2022. And I'll turn this over to Ms. Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your nominating committee did meet prior to this meeting, and they have made a recommendation for you to approve or offer up additional recommendations. The recommendation for chair is Terry Malone, and the recommendation for vice chair is Andrew Zupkoff.
Okay. Yeah.
Terry's not saying all.
Yeah. Okay, so any discussion? No, okay, motion to approve the nominations. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None, so the motion carries. Okay, so we go, there's no, the multimodal update, we do not have that. We have no presentations.
Well, before we move away from the multimodal, I see Mr. Clark Merritt in the audience and just want to give him an opportunity if he would like to give any updates from the port. That's how that works. You know?
Yeah.
Thank you, board members. Clark Merritt, Port of Pensacola. So we've had some recent changes at the port. As some of you may or may not know, Amy has moved into a assistant city administrator role, taking Mr. Dick Barker's place, who was a former CFO. And I have moved to port director. Not quite sure yet if it's interim or appointed. So that is currently being worked out today, as a matter of fact. So Port of Pensacola continues to do well, revenues and cargo wise. We've been very busy our past couple of years. I'm not sure if Amy presented that to the board before, but revenues year to year, previous year, were up over 14% for us, which is great. We're handling a significant amount of GE wind energy cargo, both exports and imports. We are now importing from Brazil. Completed nacelles like they manufacture up on Scenic Highway. They're also being manufactured in Brazil up here, and they're shipped in addition to other components that come in for assembly at the plant up on Scenic Highway. So wind and wind energy components continue to be our primary cargo at the Port of Pensacola. Rail is up as well, and truck traffic. Of note, we had a import of cement from one of our tenants, CEMEX. That's the first time that's happened in about 19 years. So they imported that from Mexico to their storage facility on port. So that's more cargo for us and a big change. So I think that's about it. But you guys are welcome to come down and see us anytime. Contact us. We give tours. You know, the port's a secure facility, so people just can't drive out there. You got to have an access card, a SWIFT card, or be escorted. But we're happy to do that. Just a little bit of heads up. But if you have groups that ever want to go on port just for a 30, 45-minute tour, we're happy to do so. So
Thank you so much for that, and congratulations.
thanks very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we have no presentations and the information items.
So your information items include your minutes, actions report. There are some letters, our self-certification from ALDOT, safety targets memo, and then the schedule for the rest of the year. And that takes you to your other business. Your next meeting will be Wednesday, October the 12th. And the location is yet to be determined. It's possible it would be here again, but it will be at 10 a.m. on the 12th of October.
All right. Any more? Anybody have
The 9 a.m. is for the TPO meeting, and that's bold, and that's first, but your meeting is at 10.
It will be Tuesday, October 12th at 10 a.m. All right, just verify. All right. All right. Any more public comments or anything? All right. Meeting adjourned. Yeah.
There's a lot. Well, we made a comment. It's basically trying to address the actual. Currently going period. It's like the savings. They could do it. Yeah, that's why.